Good evening and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It is a Town Talk special, and Steve's headline this week is Derby Day Delight as the Terriers gobble up the chickens. And Cal, you look like you're in party mood, whatever you're wearing across those eyes. How are you doing, my friend?
I am wonderful, chaps. How are you?
Good to hear. Oliver, how are you, mate? Oh, Oliver's on mute, so we'll come back to him a little bit later on once he decides to step up his game. Oh, hey, up here he is.
Okay, I'm back. No, just testing you all. I'm great apart from that bit. It's summertime over here, and I've cut the grass, and now I'm talking to you guys about Huddersfield Town for an hour.
Good, man. Good. That's what we like to hear. Plenty of comments in so far, so thank you very much. We'll come to them very, very shortly. Steve, and finally, how are you, my friend? Have you had a nice weekend?
I've had a super weekend. Yeah, went to Meadowhall today with the other half to meet some friends from Nottingham, so that was nice. But yeah, it's been a great weekend, hasn't it? For football wise and just general life. Good man.
Anything else, Steve?
Yeah, just two things. So obviously we are the town representative of the channel overall, but I just wanted to point two things out because we have been asked to sort of point this out. Firstly, obviously there is an alleged racist remark at the game that was made yesterday against a Huddersfield Town supporter. Obviously, as a channel, we condemn any racist remarks that's said between any fan bases because we represent, the wider football West Yorkshire community. So, if you do hear anything at any games, whether it's at non-league or at Football League level or at Premier League level with Leeds, please do report it. And the second thing is really more related to us, obviously. In the run-up to the game, there was a lot of heated banter between the two sets of supporters, Town and Bradford. There's one game in particular that Bradford City fans are particularly, incensed about with the Kevin Gray tackle on Gordon Watson in 1997. A lot of younger Town fans may not be aware of, that ended Gordon Watson's career, unfortunately, as a player. Many Town fans might think that that's banter, but obviously, as part of the West Yorkshire Football Show brand, we have to say that that's not the views of the wider channel. And obviously any individuals that, post that being Town fans, or any banter against Bradford fans, doesn't represent us as a wider channel, just those individuals. So yeah, just those things to point out, Kane. But yeah, obviously it's been a cracking weekend. And you'll be glad to know I've been practicing, right? So I've made a list of all chicken, sort of like how you might cook chicken, and I'm going to try and get them in to this podcast in some way, shape, or form. I think I've got 12 overall to get in there, so we'll see how many I can slip in.
Well, with you, Steve, we could be here all night with that one, so I'm looking forward to it. All I know is that Marston's was on the menu yesterday. Look, all right, okay, plenty of comments in. Let's just start going through them as best we can, and then we can talk about Derby Day Delight. So, Joe, what a win, fellas. We are back. Tim in Suffolk. Tim, thanks for tuning in. All good so far. He has said the group numerous times on 3 HD TV interviews so far. We'll just have to put up with it, I think. Cheer up, Alexander. Oh, what can it mean to be a sad Bradford and a poor football team? So thank you very much for that one. Blue Terrier, you know what you like. But it's all right. We can see it, Carl. I can see you shaking your head. Nothing was said. Luke says, try not to get carried away. It's only been one game, but the best performance this season by a long way. McGuinn is an absolute game changer for us in this league. Playoffs is on and maybe autos, ? Return of the Terriers spirit, says Mark Harrison. The chicken's crying on a Sunday night, says Tom. Thanks for tuning in, Tom. Hi, loved my first Derby Day, says Danielle Ellis. We've got plenty of other ones coming in, so we'll do our best to go through these as well. No way was Rad's offside yesterday. Great win, boys. Sent them chickens to the fryer at Marston's. Steve, I think you had that on your bingo, so we're going to have to miss that one. Some folks still live in the dark ages. Occasions shouldn't be allowed in the football ground. Stephen, you're absolutely right. We agree with that one. Pluck the chickens, Downsy, it says Jed as well. And what a win, especially with 10 men. Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. They're absolutely wonderful as always. But Blue Terrier, come on, keep them clean. Oliver.
Hello.
I'm going to come to you first because Steve and Cal are at the ground. So there's more to come on to them. You watched it from afar, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What was your feeling of the game from 8,000 miles away or however miles away it is?
Yeah, 8,254. So quite a long way away. But yeah, I do have a pass and I'm able to watch the games from afar. Again, the initial emotions were kind of nervous because obviously it's his first game. Manning did speak well in his press conference about the fact that he's relishing the challenge, and what a good first game to have against local derby rivals and a team in the top 7 for promotion. And I just thought Huddersfield, it wasn't just the result. It felt like a bit of a shift. It felt like the players just weren't, as before, playing from the back all the time. It seemed to be going out and playing the game and taking the game towards to Bradford. And like I say, I don't think we dominated in the first half. We dominated the possession and the chances that we had. It just seemed like a different side from Huddersfield. I thought Ledson was much better than what he has been under Grant. And again, I just thought it was a positive. And I did think we deserved that result, that 1-0 result. Again, there was arguably we could have scored another one. Was he offside? I don't know. But anyway, I'm so happy we managed to get at least a win. Against, and it's our first win against a top 7 side. So, what better?
What better? Okay, so I've just seen a comment come up here. Bloody marvellous, lad, says Darren. Atmosphere of old, fantastic, great determination and commitment, which means atmosphere. I'm going to come on to you, Cal. What a fantastic display from the Cowshed Loyal. Plenty of bums. Well, I guess they weren't on the seats, whether they were stood up. Great to see that from the Cowshed Loyal. What did you make on the atmosphere yesterday? From where I was, for probably 80% of the game, it was absolutely bouncing.
It has been a long time since I've been to a game with that sort of an atmosphere. A long time. And you can always tell from where we are because you can see every side of the ground getting involved. You had Kilnabank, they were getting going, starting some chance, and that, we don't really see that all too often, but everybody was up for it, and it's because of that grit, that determination that they were showing on the field. We've said for so long, we can only provide an atmosphere that sort of marries up with what we're seeing on the field. So if the ground's silent and everyone's a bit sort of, oh God, it's happening again, the ground is quiet. And you felt that, I think, a little bit after we scored. There was almost like a Grant hangover of, well, we've gone 1-0 up, but there's nowhere we'll sustain it. So we were almost waiting for the mistake and waiting for the goal. And it's difficult to build an atmosphere when it's that tense. But the tackles were flying in. The defending was like last man, last ditch defending, good heads. Nichols coming over to the cowshed, telling the ball boy, get rid of the football. I don't want it back. It was superb, and it showed in the atmosphere. It showed in the performance.
So for the atmosphere, from my point of view as well, Steve, we say we're now right up in the gods on the Riverside stand, right at the back, right at the top. Great view of the pitch. You can really see the tacks and stuff like that. But even in that first half, as Cal mentioned, all 4 sides of the ground up and singing. We had hospitality in front of me. Sometimes I couldn't even see the dugout because they were standing up singing. How did you find the atmosphere yesterday?
Yeah, I'm quite glad that I'm not that high anymore in the press box because it's difficult for me to see anyway. Never mind being as high up as what you are in the clouds. Like, what are you laughing for, Cal? You can't laugh at that. It's disgusting. No, what I would say is, look, all 4 sides of the ground were absolutely bouncing from the off. First of all, the tifo that the Cowshed Loyal did was absolutely magnificent. I've seen the videos, obviously, that they've put out. You know, the hard work that goes into something like that to create what really is only seen on European stages, realistically. You know, I mean, to have everybody in that stand doing what they did was fantastic. Then, obviously, the emotional bit with Terry Yorath, and that was great to see how we all celebrated his life and being involved in both clubs, as we've spoke about before. And just from the first kick, I mean, the roar, we haven't heard a roar at the stadium like that for, I'd say, at least two to 3 years. I mean, it was just absolutely brilliant. And then, you know, straight away when the tackles were flying in, and I think Ledson, I will say this, you will not get me saying that Ledson played poorly on Saturday tonight, and you will definitely not get me to say Harness played poorly either. They were absolutely outstanding. I mean, Marcus Harness got my man of the match, and I hadn't said that for 18 games or whatever we've played, 23 games or however many we've played, but I just thought it was brilliant. And every supporter needs to be absolutely proud of themselves for the atmosphere that they created, because the players could just generally just feel it all throughout the game, Ken.
Yeah, it was just one of them yesterday. I mean, even the station that I do it for, when it's Huddersfield Town at home, we're local. We have a little bit of bias in there, but there was just something about it yesterday, which I just really, really enjoyed. In fact, when that goal went in, I nearly lost my voice because I
Glad you didn't.
Well, yeah.
By the way,
Yeah, about to say you are struggling, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just to add though, it was
zeros.
Just to quickly add there, though, I mean, obviously I'm 8,000 miles away, so I didn't experience it firsthand, but you could definitely hear the atmosphere on the actual TV itself. But it did feel, from all the post-match stuff and on Twitter, on Facebook, that there was a bit of a cohesion there between the fans and the players. I saw Manning at the end, the camera zoomed in, he did the fist pumps to the crowd. It was, and everyone was cheering, which we didn't really get that with Grant. It was more just going into the tunnel and away you go. But yeah, you could definitely feel there was a sort of a connection there, even from 8,000 miles away. So it was great to see.
What I absolutely adored, right, on the final whistle, I think it was Joe Lowe and Lee Nichols legged it over to the cowshed. First, they both just absolutely pelted it over, and Nichols nearly came in with us. He thought about it because he got to the barrier and he thought, you could see him thinking, no.
Well, if he went in, he wasn't going to get back out, was he? So
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It just felt like a lot of pressure's just been relieved. That's what it felt. I mean, I know it's the first game. Let's not get carried away, but it just felt like a lot of pressure's relieved. Everyone's left Saturday happy. And Fortress Aku lives on. I think it's 8 games unbeaten at home now, isn't it? So,
yeah. What I would say, sorry, Ken. What I was going to say, I just thought it was an atmosphere that was at boiling point. I think it released that pressure in it, and of how you really get to the whole issue of what's been a problem at Huddersfield Town for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, just I was going to touch on was with the tackles that got me going. The tackles got me going. So let's now go back. Then you've all spoke about a little bit about pressure within there, and Steve, would you argue, say the fact that the pressure was lifted within the first 10 minutes of the game because the way Town were performing, they were absolutely on top of the opposition, and that had the fans behind them. It was a system which you could quite clearly see what formation they were playing, and that's arguably not something the fans have had this year.
No, and it was square pegs in square holes, wasn't it? We didn't have inverted fullbacks and all that sort of thing going on. It was people in the positions where probably the best at doing what they're doing, and also probably, I mean, Manning spoke after the game, didn't he? He didn't overcomplicate things on the training pitch, so Murray Wallace and Joe Lowe were told to kick it and head it as far as possible, and that's what they did. I thought what really got me was you had Ledson and McGuane in the middle, and they clearly, for whatever reason, they understood exactly what each other's jobs were. And I think that made a real difference to our mid. That's the best our midfield's been all season, because I just think that they were instructed to do the jobs that they're capable of doing. And then you got Harness dropping back in from that 3-4-3 formation. I was thinking after the game came, like we've talked on here probably over 2 years now about formations and systems. And actually, one of the first thoughts I had after the game was, I bet Kane was happy about how that formation and system went.
Yeah, I think for me, Steve, I could clearly see what it was, and you could understand what everyone's job was. And I think that is quite key. And Oliver, what was it like for you? Did you really get to see much of that from the way you watched it? Obviously, when we're in there, Cal, it's a little bit different for you behind the goal. Steve, you're a little bit lower down. I'm right at the top. I can see everything. But what's it like for you?
I mean, the camera angles are pretty much the similar. You can see a good bird's eye view of it. And like say, the thing is, because Manning only had, 2 or 3 days, so he wasn't going to change much formation-wise. He was going to keep it the same. But what I would note, the thing that I did notice is there was none of this sort of what we had in the previous regime of passing, playing out from the back, having 50 passes or whatever we do, and then try and move it forward. That didn't happen. We were just forward playing. And that's what that formation worked out to be. Like I say, at the end of the day, we got a clean sheet with a man down. I would have never expected that under Grant to get even a clean sheet. You know what I mean? Whereas this time, we weren't messing around at the back. We were just playing the ball forward, which is what our players should be doing. And that's the thing that I saw in terms of formation-wise. Manning might start adopting a new formation, a new system soon, but he's only been in the post 3 days, so he wasn't going to make any dramatic changes. It was slightly different, but it worked.
Yeah, it was slightly different. So Town essentially lined up with 3 at the back. The 2 wing backs were pushed a little bit further up. Then there were the 2 midfielders. So you had Jolo, centre of that back 3, Wallace on the left-hand side, Balka on the right. We had Gooch on the right-hand side. Over on the left, we have Mumba. There were 2 wing-backs going up and down. In the middle, as mentioned, McGuane on that left-hand side, Ryan Ledson on the right-hand side. And then this is where it changed a little bit for me, which is what was quite nice to see, was the fact it was Bojan Radulovic up top on his own, but then both Alfie May and Marcus Harness just playing off him. So there wasn't the 2 up front and waiting for one of the midfielders to work off either side. They were both there to support, which meant they could go a little bit wider as well if needed to collect the ball and to press Cal. Do you feel as if it was only a slight change to the formation, but it was the change in the right area of it?
How many times this season have we said our problem has been the ball in transition and the gaps created when you move from defence to attack quickly? We weren't playing the right way to be able to move forward as a unit, so we were leaving gaps that left us exposed. Then when the opposition got the ball back, they were able to play through us, presenting opportunities to score. What was really good was that Gooch and Mumba, who I thought had an inconsistent first half, but I thought he grew into the game really well. What was really good was to see them sort of moving so far up and down that when the ball's in defence, they're an option. Then it's in the midfield, they're an option. Then they become an option up front as well. The amount of times that you saw Mumba and Gooch getting into them positions, cutting inside, trying to get in. Gooch obviously should have scored. And I'm assuming we'll get to that. But to be in that position means that you have departed from your role within the defensive unit, not to speak like Lee Grant too much, but you've moved through the thirds and you're then in the attacking phase. So that's a really good sort of free-flowing move to be able to free yourself up to do. But then we didn't look to be caught on the counter-attack at any point because we covered so well for each other, got up for every header, went in for every second ball. The epitome for me was, and yellow card, you'll take it. The incident right in front of us sort of was it in the first sort of 15? I'm not really sure on timings. My head was all over the place, to be fair. But where the ball's gone out of play, McGuane goes to get it. The Bradford player gives him a little nudge. McGuane turns around and just decks him. Superb. I thought it were excellent. He got everybody in that corner up with Kilner, and in our end, everyone were up for it then after that. And he got a booking, but for me, should have been a booking to the Bradford player as well for the initial.
6'3" centre back. Just want to put that in there, Cal. 6'3" centre back goes down like a flat fly.
The point I'm trying to make there is that these players we were all up attacking as a unit, but we didn't ever leave ourselves short in defence. We had the legs to get back and cover.
Yeah. So I think with this formation at the moment now is when the fullbacks push up, you still got that bank of three, and then you've got the two players in front as well. So that's essentially you've got 5 players who can defend there. Because it's the bank of two in the midfield, they can also attack and they get back very well. Okay, Cal, so we mentioned that yellow card for McGuane. Baldwin definitely should have had one as well. He put the first push. And if you're getting pushed over and falling over like that, you really need to go to the gym. But I think that set the tone, didn't it? That set the tone. And then what you mentioned just a few moments ago in terms of moving through the thirds, it was quicker, and that quickness and that tempo brought the goal. Mumba, quickly, boom. Right, let's go. May makes a great run. Radulovic does well with a header. I thought the goalkeeper, to be honest with you, made an absolutely fantastic save. Walker made a brilliant save. He was going the other way, but you've got to follow it up, and Marcus Harness did, and that roof, Cal, nearly came off. What was it like for you in the couch shed?
Large parts of it I spent on the floor, but I'm not entirely sure how I got there. There's video footage that we've got of the goal, and I'm in it, and then I just disappear. There's a gap where my head was, and I'm not there anymore, and then I return. So I'm not sure, but it was superb. The only thing that I said sort of before it and after it was, we have to start taking some of these chances because we created so much and we looked so threatening. I didn't want it to be another one of those games where we create all sorts, don't score any, then they go up the other end, get one and sit back. And you could see it until that moment. And they thought, right, we've got one. Let's get him.
Let's get him. Steve, how did you see the goal? What was it like for you on your side of the ground? Because that's where Hannes came across to after to celebrate.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was well, to be absolutely honest, I didn't actually know who scored because I just saw the ball at the net, and then I was absolutely, pandemonium, like hugging and whatever the fans around me, and I said to me, that who actually scored? And then obviously I heard the announcement, oh, Anna scored, bloody hell, But yeah, listen, like he followed it up, didn't he? That's something that we've talked about previously, particularly this season, where we've maybe had men in the box, but they haven't finished a chance off, or they haven't been running in. And apart from Castledine, that's all we've had. So it's lovely to see that, Arnott made that run, got into a position, and I agree, Walker made a brilliant save. I mean, what is he, 6'9" or whatever? He was absolutely huge, but it was a great save, and put it in, and the celebrations were fantastic. I mean, Alfie May, I love the video. I've watched it about 20 odd times. The way Alfie May runs to the camera, screams in the camera, and then runs off. That's brilliant. That's proper passion. Where's that been for this so far this season? I mean, Manning's installed that in a week. What's he going to do in 6 months? That's all it takes, isn't it? A bit of grit and passion, and like Cal was saying, the other parts of the game that were, he's just spoken about McGuane, and I do want to say about him as well. When Gooch missed that chance, McGuane ran must have been 20 odd yards, tapped him on the back and said, "Don't worry about it. Come on, we'll get you another chance." And that's backing each other up, isn't it? And we hadn't had that either.
What I will say, Steve, and what I'm sort of building on what you said there about the sort of presence. What I saw, I looked over at the touchline, and every time I looked over, Manning's standing on the edge of his technical area, screaming at players to get back or get in or have a go. And his assistant is doing the same thing. Now, I don't know what he's saying because I can't hear him from over there, but I love that. I love to see that because they're engaged in what's happening and they're not sat. Lee Grant used to do it. He used to come out, have a little bit of a go, and then go and sit back down.
Yeah.
Look at the iPad and look at the phase 4 or 7 or 8 or 12, whatever we were in, and then come back out. But there was not a second where Liam Manning was sat down and sort of pondering. He was up, he was animated, he was barking instructions to those players. And I thought it was excellent and really well managed.
Yeah.
Oliver?
And that is Huddersfield. Yeah, no, I'm just going to follow up on that. I mean, that is Huddersfield Town, isn't it? It's not this data-driven sort of. It is pure the passion, the team effort that we have. Like, I was looking at that, and Steve mentioned the man of the match was Harness, but I could think of at least 3 or 4 that has potential for that. I mean, everyone put the shift in. I couldn't think of one player. I mean, maybe McGuane perhaps getting sent off, but you can't really think of anyone that didn't put a shift in on Saturday. And that's what Huddersfield's all about, that team drive that we have. And I thought that was brilliant. You can mention any players, and definitely I would say majority of them are over 7 or 8 out of 10 in the player rankings. You know what I mean? It was great. It's great to see.
Any comments on the goal, Oliver?
Well, I think you've all covered them, really. Excellent save. I mean, when it came up, again, I wasn't there at the ground, but I could hear it from the speakers, and I must admit, my roof nearly fell off, so it was my voice went off as well. So it was great. It was brilliant, and the thing is, you could see the crowd at the cowshed in particular. It was great to see. And like I say, I've got a lot of friends. I got a lot of friends that went to the ground, so you can see all their stories and things, and it was great to see. And it's what was coming. That's basically what I'm trying to say. It wasn't a sort of off the cuff moment.
No, the sound seemed to.
You did feel that, I think, in the ground as well. You felt that it was coming.
Yeah. There was definitely that feeling, and arguably as well, maybe Marcus Harness might not have been in that position in a different kind of formation, but now he's been pushed up a little bit further to work off the striker. He's there to feed off any bits of scraps. We mentioned, we're nearly half an hour into this one. We've mentioned a lot about atmosphere and the goal. There was a lot of chances. Bradford got themselves into it with about 35 minutes gone. They got themselves in a bit of possession, but arguably Town looked pretty well, looked defended like they were going to be solid. So let's touch on the second half now. Town were doing okay, but I think a big thing for me was a change at half time where Graham Alexander had to make 3, and Steve, one of them was Bobby Poynton having to come off, who was supposed to be arguably the star man for Bradford, but struggled to get out of Ryan Ledson's pocket.
Well, he didn't get out of his pocket. That's what I was so pleased about. The fact that Ledson was absolutely outstanding the entire game. I was a bit before the game, and certainly if we'd have had Grant in charge, I'd have been absolutely crapping myself with Bobby Poynton being in that Bradford team, because the 2 players that absolutely destroyed us at Valley Parade were Max Power and Bobby Poynton, and there was a spell that we'll come on to after McGuane's red, where Max Power started to get on the ball a bit more, started to dictate things, because obviously we had 1 man less. But while we had 11 men on the pitch, he were nowhere to be found. He didn't have any space. Bobby Poynton couldn't run through. You were exactly right. He had to take him off at half time. I think that made them slightly more attacking on the front foot, because obviously they brought Sibley on, didn't they? And he played off the left and pushed up a little bit more towards Humphreys. So probably changed their mindset, because they knew they had to go for it a bit more. but in a way that made them more unstable in the rest of the pitch. I mean, Gooch had toast, didn't he, really?
Did you see, I don't know if it was tilt, but there was a moment where Gooch put a tackle in on a Bradford player right on the touchline, and he stood up, and the Bradford player still on the floor. He stood up and just stood over him, giving him an absolute shower of abuse. That were
that was Tory. Tory had taken a bit of a dive, hadn't he? And Gooch were like, get
just stood over him, having a right go at him.
I think what the subs prove, Kane, is that Alexander gave Bradford, the Bradford lads, a bit of a grilling at half time, didn't he? You know, I mean, you know, we're counting these chicken puns up, by the way, and you know, grilling.
Oh, nice!
Come on, you've missed a few.
If you hadn't pointed that out, then that would have slipped right under the radar.
You've missed a few, boys. Come on. Yeah, I think you know, I think what Bradford were lacking was definitely penetration throughout the whole game, but particularly that first and second part of the before the 62nd minute. And you know, Town made them work hard for whatever possession that they were having, and it was a slow cooking performance from Bradford.
You're trying a bit too hard.
The last one we're good. There's
one name there that, to be fair, you've left off, who I thought was probably Bradford's best player at Valley Parade, Josh Neufville.
Neufville, yeah.
And I thought, it's at half time as well. But and obviously there's a different player now on that side in Mumba. But I thought he was a shadow of the player that played us at Valley Parade. And be that the atmosphere, be that the point in the season or whatever, he was a complete different player. And him being hooked at half time with Poynton sort of shows, I hope it shows that the direction of travel. It could be a number of things, but I hope it's a sort of a point that the squad can look at and go, look what they did to us then, look what they did to us yesterday.
But I think it was a system thing, Cal, that we stopped them diagonal balls. That's all they were doing at Valley Parade.
They just
how to get round the
ball across.
Yeah, they just put the ball across. Neufville would get on it. He'd run past Sorensen or whoever on that side and cross it in. That's how they scored two of the goals at Valley Parade. I think we stopped that because, and as we've said, of the system that Manning played.
Yeah. Look, gents, let's try and move on. Let's talk about the red card, Oliver. I know Jed's put a couple of comments we'll come to at some point, but I do believe Jed was actually listening to me yesterday. Sorry, Jed. Sorry you had to listen to that. But I mentioned there might be a red card coming up, and I know Nana Paul's on there as well. He was with me. And it did come. It did come. What did you make of it, Oliver? It was very clearly a second yellow card.
Yeah.
But was it a loss of head? Was it lack of game time from McGuane?
I mean, only he will know, really. His first one, again, his first yellow card that he got, you know, was to do with a shove. Again, maybe to do with passion, but he got the yellow card, and then to get sent off with a challenge like that. I mean, easy decision for the referee. But what I was most proud about, I mean, McGuane obviously will have his chat with Manning and they'll sort something out, and hopefully he'll come back a bit more refreshed with that one. But I just wanted to mention that the fact that Huddersfield were able to hold out against a promotional side, against the local rivals, Bradford, even there was about half an hour left, wasn't it? It was 62 minutes, that red card. I mean, again, if this was a Lee Grant side, I'd be shaking my boots, honestly, because I would have expected Bradford to get back and get in there. But, you know, the fact that Huddersfield were able to regroup and get that, it was, I'm sorry about the result. But, it was a red card, to be honest.
It definitely was a second yellow. And to be fair, Cal, it came and it happened, but Town really worked together after
Manning
that.
Said in the post match, he saw a different side to the team after the red card, and I think we all did. But the key there is what didn't disappear was the intensity, not to fothering them up the performance, but we did play with the same intensity with 10 men as we did with 11 because we covered our backs. And there were a spell towards the end of the game where I didn't see much of that last 15 because I was standing pretty much like that the entire time. They had corners, throw-ins, crosses into the box, big headers away, big clearances. Nichols collects and then goes down. He gets one thing I absolutely loved, and if this happened against us, I'd be on the pitch. The red card happens. Lee Nichols goes down with cramp. And all the players go over to Liam Manning. And we get the tactical instructions and we set up differently.
It was just a cramp, wasn't
it? Greatest performance. Get that man a BAFTA.
He's just a master at it, isn't he? He's just the fact that he got booked on the 75th minute. I'm like, no, Lee, like you're supposed to do it on the 87th minute, not the 75th.
Yeah, that was Lee Nichols' first yellow card of the season, by the way.
No way.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I can't believe that.
I know, and he's been time wasting a fair bit, so he's done really well to get towards the back end of Jan.
That's mental.
Steve, Bradford, they had a lot more possession when McGuane went off.
Yeah,
but just you mentioned it earlier, they didn't penetrate Town's defence. They just didn't get at them like you would have expected them to do so.
No, it was a bit, and you have to give great credit to the back line because I mean, all the crosses that came in were and we were really under pressure at the end. Let's not have any bones about it. That they were putting crosses in, but for me, I don't know what anybody else thinks, that suited Lowen and Murray particularly down to the ground. Put it in the mixer and they'll just head it away. I mean, Wallace is the kind of centre back, isn't he? Because he's with his age, he's a bit he's wily into it. He'll just put his head in a cement mixer and head something away, like we used to have with Peter Clark and all that. So I just think it was the perfect ending, really, because it just showed that when his backs are against the wall, this squad can do it when they want to do it. In fact, I've been League Grant, as Oliver said, and we'd have been dead and buried. We'd have lost that probably 3-1 or something. But you have to give great credit for the character, and to be fair, when McGuane went off, he apologised to the fans, the crowd. I don't know if anybody else saw that. His teammates, Ledson, ran straight over to him and made sure he were all right. And it just shows that there's a bit of togetherness, isn't there? And to me, that's what that last half an hour showed. Great determination, wanting to get the win and get it over the line and just get the day done. Yeah.
So one thing I do want to speak to you all about, and it can be quite brief in all honesty, is the substitutions, Cal. They seem to be the right ones and more than likely at the right time as well.
Yeah, how refreshing. How refreshing to see a substitution before 85 minutes. Lovely.
Yeah.
But, I did think you're right in what you're saying. He tweaked, picked and chose who to take off and when, with an eye, I don't think necessarily even on the players he was taking off, but also the positions in which that player would go into. So I think when Sorensen came on, he was playing a slightly different position than that of his name's gone out my head now. That's annoying.
Umber.
He came on. Well, he came on for Harness, didn't he?
He came on for Harness, and obviously we don't want Sorensen playing in the position that Harness was occupying. So we almost used Sorensen, to bolster that back line and sit a bit further back. So it wasn't necessarily a tactical change, but like Stephen said earlier, it was square pegs in square holes, and it worked. And the team got the lift from the substitutions that they needed.
Yeah. So we talk on Oliver. So Humphreys comes on for May the first one. That's a midfield position covered for McGuane. We're talking about Sorensen there, who actually he did play in front of Lyndon Gooch, but was extra cover on that right-hand side. The other subs that we had as well, Dion Charles came on for Radolovic, who had absolutely worked his socks off. I've seen a few comments that I'm going to come across to as well after we spoke about these subs. And do you again agree that they were the right ones to make?
Yeah, I mean, we had Wallace for Feeney at 86, but yeah, we had the because we were tiring and we needed to see out the game. So obviously it worked, and we're able to to contain Bradford. The only thing I would say is that because we've got a new manager, Bradford and Bradford wouldn't have been able to do their research on a Manning Huddersfield Town team. So that kind of worked in our favour, because I guess they might have done dossiers on Lee Grant's side and how they're going to set up. But this time it would have not shocked them, but it would have been different to what they would have been used to. So again, I totally agree with Carl. Refreshing to see these substitutions. They did the job. We won the game. We saw the game out 1-0 victory. But obviously now, I know we're touching on Luton later, but now Luton will be able to have something to work towards and do some research on a man in Huddersfield Town.
And Steve, I thought the substitute for Josh Feeney coming on for Wallace was the right one. Not always it's about changing defenders when you've got to defend like that, but he was just a little bit loose at times, and he did take a bit of a knock, and you got Josh Feeney ready to come on and to play his part as well.
Yeah, I thought Wallace was brilliant personally, but by the end, I think he did take a knock and he went down, didn't he, just before he went off. So it was Manning seeing that he needed to take one of his men off. Trust Josh Feeney, he's a good defender. Overall, I thought it was great. The subs, the only one that really frustrated me was Dion Charles. Like, I mean, I can't really I don't really want to say any negatives, but my God, son, please, Dion, you brought on literally because you like to chase the ball around like a headless chicken, in a sense, right? At times you just didn't run, and I was like, mate, we're literally down to 10 men. You just need to work a bit harder. But that was my only thing. I also found it hilarious how Sorensen at one point was our most service forward player, and I literally screamed, not that he would have heard me, I was like, what are you doing? Get back to right back. You are not a striker. I think he just lost where he was on the pitch. So yeah,
that was overall, when they were tringing to make the break from Mumba, won it down the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Dion, Sorensen had run past him. Mumba had run past Charles as well. But yeah, look, right, let's get to some comments. We can talk about what it was like at the end of the game, and then we might be able to touch on what we expect to see in the next couple of games as well. So, but I do have lots of comments, so I'm going to do my best here. B. Peel, I believe I owe Liam Manning and Chris Markham an apology. I was very disappointed with the appointment, but that was exceptional yesterday from start to finish. Don't forget the restful that Bradford lost yesterday. On that display, surely Oliver is happy now that we've changed managers, head coach, as he was always advocating Lee Grant to have more time. Will Steve get the presses on a weekly? It was good to hear the channel was down at there asking some questions. Paul says, great win there. They were dire with Bradford. We was up for it all over the pictures today. Chalk and cheese performance up the town. Dell says it was great for Liam Manning having a pre-match interview with the Radio Leeds. We are Terriers and now our very own West Yorkshire football Stephen Downs. Do you think Kevin was thinking, don't know what all the fuss is about? Now he's seen that. Manning said, leave everything on the pitch, and they did. What a win. Is that the same team? Everyone wanted the ball, energy, passion throughout the first half. It was refreshing. Reminded me when Warnock came in, no messing about and playing football in Bradford's half. Good afternoon, everyone. Huddersfield played really well. I was going to say Bradford didn't turn up, but it was more of a case of Huddersfield not allowing Bradford to play. Certainly the case in the first half. It was great to see the intensity in the performance. The space between defence, midfield, and attack was just about perfect. Matt, I think that's a really, really good point. The midfielders weren't on the defenders' toes like they had been over the last few games. All Bradford's saying how bad they played, but for me, it was never allowed them to get a foothold until the sending off. And even then, we never allow them to have a clear opportunity. Dale, more great comments from you as well. Bojan was ace, worked his socks off holding it up. It just shows what a difference having an experienced head coach can make. Alfie May was good. Bojan was good also. McGuane, Lenson and Harness is the way to go. He's so calm on the ball, assured. He's McGuane, Rolls-Royce midfielder. Mumba got slayed on his debut, but smashed it yesterday. I liked him and May's chemistry too at times. It was like they were telepathically connected. What happened at the end between the Bradford play and the Town fans? Radio Leeds mentioned something about it, but it didn't actually happen. Read the statements. Go on social media for that one. Big fan of Balka, and his ball playing ability is so good, so too good for this level. Building from the back. McGuane attitude, something that we haven't had. Feel so proud of the players. They've finally shown some positive emotion. They puffed out their chests and played their hearts out. Exactly what we want. They've set the bar now. Manning got his game plan perfectly. Smashed a pub side yesterday. Liam Manning's at the wheel. Autos is on. Mumba was average, to be fair. Loose passes and did a couple of good runs the second half to help set the attack. That's an interesting comment from you there. Huddersfield Town match on Saturday was the best game so far. I loved it. What happened in the cowshed. Blue Terrier rumours has it that this is Bobby Poynton still in Ledson's pocket. And good to have you back, Ben. Where have you been, pal? We've not seen you for a while. Has anyone seen Gaz, Graham Alexander? No show. Bobby Poynton, Max Power. Well, here we go. Ben, great to have you back, pal.
I think Ben is Jason Cundy in disguise.
You've got to do it like Jason Cundy. If you're going to read it out, you've got to do it properly.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen?
I've got more from Ben. Don't worry. Standing ovation for sending off shows you how good McGuane was yesterday. Bear in mind, Manning took his first training session on Tuesday. Yes, he did. Certainly, a Manning OB has quite a ring to wait. Was it just a happy coincidence, Cal, regarding LN?
Absolutely. Lee Nichols.
Crap. Yeah.
Lee Nichols.
Yeah.
It was. I overheard a colleague of ours from the radio station in Leeds saying that McGuane's challenge could have been a red on its own. Yeah, definitely a yellow.
Yeah.
Nichols shouldn't have been booked. The ref told him to take the free kick back further, then booked him for moving the ball back. Yeah,
absolutely. Right. That is.
Yeah. He did do that.
I did think that referee was packed. While we're just on the referee there, I did think the referee sort of played the game a bit interesting. After the push and the yellow card, he started to give us everything, almost to make up for it. And then there was a bit where he started to give Bradford everything and didn't let the game flow in an equal measure. It was one or very much the other.
Yeah, but can I just touch on that? Alexander's comments after the game, I don't know if anybody's listened to it. He basically said that we won the game because of A, their poor defending, which is fine. But B, he basically said that the referee was on our side.
I
know he gave us
it's a smoke screen. That's a smoke screen, surely.
But I don't think he was that bad.
Well, yeah, I think they were all very bitter and just didn't like the fact that they couldn't get into the game and didn't do anything when they had 10 men. 0.16 XG, that's all I need to say, says Ben. Predictions for the Loot, we'll come on to that one, James. They are honking. Get them back down to League 2. They're out of place in this division. Ben, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I've missed you, pal. I'm really...
Ben's had Fanta, hasn't he? He's had Fanta tonight.
He's back. Look, right, okay. Plenty gone in there. We've got some Bosches. Kane's going to be out of his breath. You're absolutely right, Ben. Stop putting comments in there. Gents, the final whistle goes. Cal, must have been an amazing feeling in the cowshed. After having the Tifo that you've worked really hard to do and the players worked hard with 10 men, just what a relief.
Yeah, it was a sort of game in stages because I wanted the Tifo to go. I was nervous for the Tifo to go well. And then you think, oh, God, we've got a game against Bradford now. So that happens. But, you know, we were there till like 10:30 on Friday night, sorting it all out and making sure that it was all set up. And so you put the graft in and you just think, I'd love it to sort of be earmarked on a day like it was. We were all sort of saying it. We don't get days like this very often. So enjoy it. And at the end of the game, somebody had the bright idea to go and get the banner back out. And, you know, we had like a really good sort of moment with the nobody takes the cowshed end banner back across and all the players coming over, Manning coming over, giving it fist bumps. It was superb and such a good atmosphere. And it's right, we don't have days like that at Huddersfield Town, but in football you don't really get days like that very often. The bad days or the mediocre days outweigh days like that, sort of 10 to 1. So when it comes along, drink it in, and we did, and it was a superb afternoon. You're still on mute, pal. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, not just me.
I can mute all you guys, so yeah. Right, gents. So 2 games coming up this week. Again, we shouldn't really be talking about can they get up for it. There was every reason to be up for it yesterday. And I'm not trying to take this away from going forward, but yesterday was a West Yorkshire derby. Tuesday, it's Luton. They should be up for it because they're up there, but it's not a West Yorkshire derby. Oliver, is there... How is that going to... What's the difference now between the Bradford game and the Luton game? Is there a difference? Should there be any difference? You know, how will we look at this? How should you expect the players to be for it?
I mean, let's start firstly. There should be no difference. It's a home game as well, so that's obviously helps us out against Luton. There are playoff contenders around where Huddersfield are as well, and if we do manage to win, then it's 6 points away from. Luton are 6 points adrift of Huddersfield, so that would be really good for us as well. Again, now the Manning kind of effect is started. His era's began at Bradford. Good start, but he needs to carry it on and continue. And the only way you do that is playing these top sides to keep the confidence rolling. And the key thing is, and this is what I mentioned, we mentioned about the fans and the environment. The players would have had a taste of what it was like on Saturday, how great it must have felt. You know what I mean? That kind of cohesion between the team and the fans. And if I was the player, and obviously I'm not a player, hence why, but I would be wanting that again. You know what I mean? I'd be wanting to fight for that, for the fans, for the club on Tuesday against Luton. Unfortunately, I'll be watching that in the pub in Huddersfield, in the Falklands, because there is a Luton Town fan here, so that's good. We'll both be watching the game.
Is it like one fan of every club in the Falklands, so you can all go to the pub to watch each other? Steve, for Liam Manning's coaching staff, you've now seen what it's like against the West Yorkshire derby. You want the fans to be like that again. Is that your motivation for the players? You've seen what happened on Saturday when you perform well and beat a side that's up there. Now you just have to go do it again on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think that's the massive test, isn't it, for Manning now? It is a bit of an acid test. Like you've had that red hot, unbelievable atmosphere, but you have to bring the players now back down to earth. Make sure they're not fried from that atmosphere. You have to keep them in sort of a context of, look, that's not going to be every game. As much as what the fans loved it, it is going to be Tuesday night. It is going to be maybe not as many people there necessarily. It's going to be a different game against a different type of opposition. So, I think it's a big test for Manning now. Can he back it up? I'm sure he can. And listen, the fans will be there Tuesday night, absolutely cheering the team on, and hopefully they can play like they played on Saturday. But how good would it be if we came out with even 6-9 points from the next 2 games? I mean, that'd be a hell of a first week, wouldn't it? To
get 9 points out of the next 2 games, wouldn't it, Steve?
Well, no, but 9 points over the week overall, you numpty. Out of his first 3 games, I think that would be a hell of an achievement to the fact that you've just come in to the club.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Rivet Head, I've seen your comment. That's not going up, so thanks for that one. Cal, look, again, mention it's easy to get up for a West Yorkshire derby. What do you think the today and tomorrow is probably going to bring for Liam Manning and his coaching staff?
I think the Bradford game got in the way. Oh, you're funny. You know, it comes up as a message on the screen when you do that. Anyway.
What we say, Cal?
I don't trust you now. You've put up a barrier. I think the Bradford game, in terms of preparation and the way Manning probably wanted to get his teeth into the job, the Bradford game probably got in the way, because you'd prefer to start at the end of a week where you can get your teeth into a full week on the training pitch and drill into the detail with the players. But Manning doesn't have that luxury, and you know, we saw small changes at Bradford against Bradford, and I think we'll see maybe some more small changes against Luton. And what I'm hoping is that we take the positives from the Bradford game, and yes, we can say, look, this is what the atmosphere is like, but we almost also have to say, don't expect that every week. That was almost special circumstance. Bradford at home, the first home derby in the league, I think, in 20 years?
20 years, yeah.
So I think that's sort of exceptional circumstances, but don't let that take away from the performance. Performance-wise, we want to see exactly the same. And I think that's the message. You know, can you do it on a cold, rainy night in Huddersfield on a Tuesday?
Yes, that is. I think. Sorry, Cal. That's kind of what we've been saying, though, hasn't it, for quite some time on the podcast in general. It's the performance. Can you get the performance that the fans will get behind? And that's exactly what they did on Saturday. A couple more comments as well. Manning passion. Wow, finally a manager that showed it in abundance. Was that loud when we scored? I couldn't hear the stadium announcer even in the slightest. Watch the video from the Bradford end after, and he was screaming down that mic. He certainly was. Jed's disappointed to see that we don't have an AI tactics chart this week. Jed, we'll get the request in for a few weeks' time once we know a little bit more about the tactics as well.
Absolutely.
Pardon?
I'll get on that. Absolutely.
Good lad.
I'll be in discussions with ChatGPT as soon as this show ends. 100%.
There is no reason why we can't beat Luton with that Team Tuesday passion in Dover and never die attitude. They proved they could do it. Now go do it again. And Luton's always been a bit of a bogey team for Town, but we will see. And am I right in thinking that Liam Manning has only announced 2 assistants? If so, Chris Markham going to choose one, and the teams normally have 3 assistants. Look, I think whatever he's comfortable with. Okay, so Luton, it's about showing more of the same. Again, there's not much turnaround from this game, so he's straight back into it. He's not really going to have that much time on the training field going through bits and bats of tactics, so it's more of a what can you do? You might have a bit more time before the Peterborough game though, Oliver. Let me guess, there's a Peterborough fan there in the Falklands as well that you'd be sat in the pub with.
I don't know. I haven't seen that one, I'm afraid. So I don't know. I haven't travelled that far out. But what you've got to be mindful of, obviously, it's a good start for Manning, and maybe Luton's good. But obviously, these teams will be watching a Manning Huddersfield Town. So they'll be starting to get used to how Huddersfield play, the style, the new system, or what if he brings a new system out. So it's going to get harder as we go along. But yeah, as I think it was Paul, one of the Paul Hitchinson said, it proves that we can do it. You know, we can play across the field. We can not walk over teams, but we can play against some decent teams in this league. And there's a reason why we're up at the top of the League One, not the top, but up in the top positions of League One itself. So, but yeah, Peterborough, but Luton should be a good game. I think should be a good result. Yeah.
By the way, we've got some comments coming in as well. Start getting your predictions in so we can go through them, because there's not very long left before we finish this one in. Just a couple of comments. Convenient we start playing Northern football after the gimmick goes. And Marcus Wayne literally played for Barcelona, just saying. BPL says we have to be realistic. There will be some fatigue from the weekend, so it's unlikely we'll be able to replicate that performance. But as long as we show it more often than not, then I'll be happy. Okay, so Steve, away to Peterborough. It's not going to be easy. It's that weird rivalry again, but surely Town should be up for that one as well. And we're thinking a positive result.
Yeah. What I would say is Peterborough have definitely improved under Luke Williamson, I think it is. Since he's come into it, it's not going to be easy. But you would like to hope that the next 2 games we can get positive results. I'd like to hope that we can go to Peterborough and get a win. Yeah, if I were a player now, I don't know about you lot, but I'd be absolutely buzzing for the next 2 games. I'd want them to play them tomorrow, mate. But obviously you've got to have recovery and all that. So let's just go into it with fantastic energy and try and get 6 points at the next 2 games, not 9.
And Cal, would you want to be doing what Steve does? You want to play tomorrow, play the day after that performance yesterday, and you reckon that's how they're feeling up to the Peterborough game too?
I'd hope so, but looking at the fixtures, we've got to be careful because we play obviously Tuesday, then we play Peterborough on Saturday, then we've got a week until we play Blackpool, and then after Blackpool we go Saturday, Tuesday, right up until this only shows me till the 21st of Feb. But there is a lot of football coming up, so I think set up in a similar style, but use those sort of canny substitutions like we did against Bradford. Utilise them more often, get more players in the frame, and there's no reason why we can't carry the momentum. Absolutely no reason why. But it's making sure the players respond to what is a very different atmosphere. What will be a quieter atmosphere. There will be less people there. Making sure they can get up for it as much.
And do you think, Carl, you obviously mentioned the fixtures there, Saturday, Tuesday. That might just hinder a little bit on the players because obviously now we're going to have to try and learn a new system. Not that too much has changed, but there's enough that has changed to get an understanding of it when there's less time on the pitch.
Potentially, but I also think it offers an advantage in that it gives you the space to be able to try these new things in game scenarios. So some things might not work, but you've got enough games to be able to tweak and change and sort of play it in against real-time opposition rather than doing it all on the training pitch, going into a game and realising, oh, actually, this doesn't work.
And Steve, how do you feel on that one as well? Are you in agreement with Cal that it's more time to actually do it in games, despite the fact there's probably going to be less training sessions available?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of go to Matt Glennon's kind of thinking like training's not everything. We hear him say that quite often on Radio Leeds. I think training is important, but it's what you do in matches. I think that run Saturday, Tuesday, although it's difficult probably on the legs, I think it's a great opportunity to have momentum, Kane. If you get on a winning run of 3, 4, 5 wins, that can really rocket you up the table, can't it? I mean, just look at Plymouth. Plymouth's a great example. They were 22nd bottom about 2 months ago, and suddenly now they find them 14th. So I think you can get on a really good run in this league, and if you do that, you can be in a fantastic position.
Yeah, things can change very, very quickly, can't they, Oliver? Like Steve said, and as mentioned, could be a massive opportunity for Liam Manning to put his stamp on the football club and the team within the games.
Absolutely. Quick turnarounds, quick games, and as Cal mentioned, able to tweak things and change things out rather than waiting a week till the next game. They can sort it out in a few days, So, yeah, it's something to be embraced. But I think, momentum, you have the honeymoon period of always a new manager, don't you? And it's a good start. So hopefully it carries on.
Okay, gents, right, it's prediction time, but I've got a couple of comments before we go on to them. We've got Marcus McGuinn suspended. I'd drop Arnes back into midfield and play Alves in his position. That's an interesting feeler about how you would do that one. I've seen a few slating him, but fair play to McGuinn. It's taken all season for players to put their bodies on the line, and it's silly, but actually it's refreshing in a sense, says Ben. I feel now the players know what's required. No out of position tactics. They know the task, and also tested our ability to hold on to a lead as well. It made the post-match celebrations even more lively. Okay, right. So prediction time. So we're going to go to Terrier 9:31st. Town 1, Luton 1, Peterborough 1, Town 1. Ben's going Town 5-0 against Luton and 6-0 against Posh. It's going to be a tight one. We're going 2-1 Town, says Paul. I'm assuming that one's going to be against Luton. Town 2-0 against Luton and Town 3-1 against Peterborough. Not getting carried away, though. Jed reports Herbie is back in the building. Yeah, he was certainly in the inside training video. So he's going to go 1-1 on Tuesday and then 2-1 Town at Posh. Dale says he'd be happy with 4 points after Saturday. Going 2-1 Town against Peterborough and also 2-1 Town against Luton as well. Paul, Town 2, Luton 1, and Peterborough 0, Town 2. What else we got in here? Rivethead has got 3-0 Town. I'm assuming that one again is for Luton. Michael, I've seen this one. Need to get another striker in case May and Radulova gets injured. Can't rely on Charles. Okay. Ben also says he went 2-1 Bradford the other day, by the way. Well, Ben, not good enough, but nice to have you back on the pod. Okay. Steve, I'm going to come to you, please. Your predictions.
Town 2, Luton 1, and then Town 1, Peterborough 0.
Thank you very much. Michael's gone Town 1-0 against both Luton and Peterborough. Oliver?
It feels refreshing not to be last this time. We're all positive. It's great. I reckon I'm going to agree with Michael Bottomley. Town 1, Luton 0, and Peterborough 0, Huddersfield Town 1.
Can't wait for Cal's negative prediction.
It's not happening, Steve. It's not happening, is it, Cal? Tell us.
I am going Huddersfield Town 2, Luton 0. Huddersfield Town 1, Peterborough 0.
Thank you very much. So we have lots and lots and lots of positive predictions for this upcoming week. What a change a manager can have. What a change a Derby Day win can have on a fan base. Steve, Oliver, Cal, have a wonderful week. Thank you very much for joining us on the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's been a Talktown special. Everyone who's been viewing and commenting, you've been absolutely wonderful. The comments, as always, are amazing. Like, share, subscribe, you know that bit. But it has been a Talktown special. Derby Day delight as the Terriers. Steve, have you got any more for us before I finish it?
Just that's a wrap, mate. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. The chickens got roasted this Sunday as well. Right, guys, we shall see you next week. Have a good one. See you. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.